الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We start with the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As we know, the khutbahs are a time to reflect on our lives and a point of the week to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And amazingly enough, the past couple of weeks have been an extremely interesting time for Muslims, and particularly Muslims in America. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, very beloved children and members of our community, and we are one community as Muslims, were tragically killed. And they were the victims of what is definitely a hate crime. And pursuant to that, or following that, was the fact that you had arson and attacks on Muslim institutions in Texas, and another style of this attack on a Somalian family or a brother in Canada. And then when the President of the United States goes out and says that we should not call these people committing heinous crimes in Iraq, or people brutally murdering others in the name of Islam as Muslims, and we should focus on terrorism, he gets criticized for even saying that. There is a persistent effort out there to associate specifically Islam with terrorism and Islam with killing. For whatever reason, I don't know who these people are and why they do this, but that perception is out there. Additionally, over the past week, there was a summit in Washington, D.C., where members of the community, in conjunction with the law enforcement agencies, participated in a forum with senior officials in Washington, D.C. to counter violent extremism. Unfortunately, the same president who was vocal about defining ISIS correctly, or whatever, however you want to call it, is pushing out a program in which justifies suspicion of Muslim communities through law enforcement agencies, and puts onus on Muslim communities to work proactively with law enforcement to police their own people. And so when thinking about this in our situation, I came across, or it reminded me of Surah Al-Abasa, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى أَنْ جَاءَهُ الْأَعْمَى وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى. So the Prophet ﷺ said, frowned and turned away. And who was he talking to? He was talking to a blind man, Ibn Maktoum, who was actually a relative of the Prophet ﷺ through his marriage with Khadija. So in understanding this, it's important to know that at that time in Mecca, when Islam was new, the Prophet ﷺ was looking for people to help him with the cause of Islam. And we know from Musa alayhi salam, and the tradition of the prophets, is that what they try to do is look at who's available and also just and bring them into the fold and kind of recruit people to advance the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we can't do it alone. And so when this blind man came interrupting him, he was speaking with some members of the Quraysh. So the idea is that you go talk to the people who have the capability to help you the most, and here's this blind man. And so then it says, because there came to him the blind man interrupting, but what could tell you but that perchance he might grow? And what this is talking about is, as Muslims and as we work towards the cause of Islam, what our priorities could be. And that the first thing he said is a reminder to the Prophet ﷺ and to us that our focus is on the people who have the potential to grow in Iman and grow closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our focus here as Muslims is to remind people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remind them of the hope and the benefit that having a strong connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have with society. And it goes on to say, أَوْ يَذَّكَّرُ فَتَنْفَعُهُ الذِّكْرَى أَمَّا مَنِ اسْتَغْنَى. So, or that he might receive an admonition and that teaching might profit him, to benefit him spiritually, as opposed to the one who thinks himself as self-sufficient. So if you're talking to somebody and the people are already in their ways or whatever it might be, is that the priority? And do we know who will benefit Islam and who will not benefit Islam? And so sometimes as we're working through things, and we're working in the community, and we're thinking, oh, I want so-and-so brother, he might be so wealthy. Or I want so-and-so brother, he might be so rich, or very well-spoken. Or I want so-and-so thing to happen. Or we need to make the politicians like us. We need to make the police like us. But when we look at it, the people who will help us the most are right next door. And those are the people in need. And those are our neighbors. And those are the people who are the most receptive to having Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our lives. It's interesting because I was talking to somebody who's involved in one of these things. And his point is that the Muslim community needs to understand that people in DC and people with power, they laugh at us. Like, you guys have nothing. The fact that the president is saying these things, we should be happy. And the other thing that was mentioned or is out there is that, and so we gotta think about it. We can't be in a hopeful state. We gotta be more realistic, and we have to make people like us. And the question is that, do we want to force people to like us? Do we want to be like the people who say, listen, don't say anything bad about me because that's insensitive? Where they feel like they have to inhibit how they express themselves or whatever it might be. Or they feel like they have to speak in a particular way so they don't offend us. Or do we want people to love us? Are we people of hope or are we people of fear? And my understanding of Islam and what the Prophet ﷺ said is that we are people of hope. Yes, there's a balance between hope and fear. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the adab al-qabr a lot in the Quran. But He also talks about mercy and forgiveness. And He talks about the benefits that He's going to give us. So if we want to be effective for Islam, then we have to spread hope. And we have to spread goodness. And we have to remind people the benefit of having Islam, not just Muslims, Islam in the society. It's our duty to go out and talk to people and show them the beauty of Islam so that they love Islam. Because, and this is a reminder to myself first and last, is that if we do not believe Islam is beautiful, and if we do not believe that Islam has a place in our lives and a place in this society or whatever society is a part of, to bring people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to bring people hope, to bring people together, to remind them of the unity of humanity, then why are we here? I'm not here as a Muslim to protect an identity that relates me to some self of myself. Then, A'udhu Billah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect me from an intention that was to just focus on self-preservation. Islam is about sacrificing the self for the greater good, sacrificing the self for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And throughout history, the reason why we have such a strong tradition and such strong scholarship to fall back on is time after time after time, ulama and people and Muslims have put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ahead of themselves. When Imam Malik was asked to put the Muwatta as the law of the land, he said no. He wanted to keep it open so that just one dominant opinion would not be there. When Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was asked to adopt the Mu'tazila creed, he said no, because that was not in line with the Quran and the Sunnah. When Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah was faced with the oppression from the Mongols, he stood up as an alim and as a mujahid against that, and put his life on the line so that, again, we would have the connection towards the righteous faith. And we have scholars time and time over again where there was to remind us of the situation. So now we're at a time, at a critical juncture, as a community and as members and participants and owners of this society, to represent the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our communities. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling on us to do that. And so inshallah, I'll close it on this point, is to say this, is that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength to adhere to this call. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength to work together to advance His cause. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our intentions, that we're committed to His cause, and that we work together, and we work in a way that's beneficial, and we see past the things that might distract us and focus on the things that might benefit us, so that we are in here together. And as Muslims and as human beings, we're advocates for good, we're advocates for justice, we're advocates for peace, we're advocates for hope, we're advocates for goodliness, for everybody. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم وأتوب إليه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So, what I want to remind everybody is, and we'll wrap up pretty soon, is this: is that upcoming we have a dinner that's raising funds for this masjid. And I want to remind everybody about what the vision and what our goals are in accomplishing with this masjid, and talk more specifically a little bit about the people who are coming, and give everybody some more understanding of why those people are coming. So inshallah, we have Imam Siraj Wahaj from New York, as hopefully everybody knows who he is, because he is an amazing individual, an amazing human being, and an amazing Muslim in America. And Imam Siraj, what inspired me so many years ago about him was the fact that he saw problems in his community And he was active as a Muslim in solving them. He was one of the first people to actually go to the Congress and recite Quran in the Congress and open it there. But also, the effect that he had on the Brooklyn community in his neighborhood was amazing. He's also an individual who has respect from all corners of Muslims from every direction in America. And so, he's blessed us with joining us to come. The other individual who's coming is Sister Dalia Mujahid. And what's amazing about her is that she has done extensive research on Muslim communities, Muslim societies in America, and how Americans perceive Muslims here, and how Muslims abroad perceive America and Americans and things like this. And so she has very specific insight into the challenges of Muslims' perceptions that we face into society and some of the root causes in terms of why we face them and whatnot. What's amazing is that through her research, one of the things that she found, or it could be somebody else's research, but the research that was found is that perceptions of Muslims in America are primarily driven by the fact of whether or not they know Muslims. The more people interact with Muslims, the more they experience Muslims and Islam, the more likely they're able to have a favorable perception of Muslims. The less likely they are to have interactions with Muslims or whatever, then they're going to default to what they see on Fox News and whatnot, and they're going to have negative perceptions. And so what that connects us to is this, is that if we're going to cause positive perceptions about Islam, and if we're going to be active participants in terms of how Islam relates to our society, we need a grassroots effort, local on the ground, dealing with people one by one to change this. If we just operate at a national level, and we only talk to politicians, and we only talk to media heads, and we ask them to be a part of what their programs are, it puts us in a very weak position. We're going to have to give up something, because we're asking them. But if we put ourselves in a position where we're working together to solve people's needs, and people come and they ask us for help, then it enables us to share the beauty and the amazing qualities that we have with Islam. And it puts us in a position to articulate specifically why Islam is important, whether you're Muslim or not. And to allay any fears that what being a Muslim and having Islam and what Sharia is in terms of society. So that's, inshallah, just please come to the fundraising dinner. It's on May 22nd. March 22nd. Jazakallah khair. I should know this. March 22nd. But also just please, the most important thing is come to the masjid. Relate with each other. Participate. Come to the events. Come to something. Or go participate in any masjid. Or go teach people Quran or do whatever. If it's not here, then somewhere else. But be a part of this change that we need to bring. And take ownership for how people perceive Islam. And be reflections of it. Because when they see it, they love it. And we want to make people love Islam, and we want to make people love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me for anything that I have said wrong. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Ya Allah, please forgive us all of our sins, and please give us the strength to continue on your deen. Ya Allah, please give us the courage to stand in your cause and to go forward and give out and bring people to you. Ya Allah, please forgive those who have come before us, and please bless those who have come before us. Bless those who have died on your path, and bless those who have died as Muslims, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please allay any of our fears or our concerns, and please give us the hope that tomorrow will be better. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please give us the resources and the means and the tools to help continue on your path and to help continue to strengthen ourselves and the society around us. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please allay all the hardships and the calamities of people all around the world, and anything that's going on, please make it easy for them and give them patience. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please allay the troubles that people are facing in Iraq and in Afghanistan and in Syria and in Palestine and all over the Muslim world. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please allay all the fears and the concerns of the people who are facing any type of conflict or any type of hardship, whether they're Muslim or not Muslim. Take him out of that cause and help bring people together. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please help bring the hearts of the Muslims together, that we act in unison and we act kindly towards each other, and bring us together. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.